And I tell you, I specifically tell you to swear, and you come up with
penis
tacos. It's not.
Yeah, you know what they say? Get over it.
That's not at all what I was looking for. Let's see here. I hope that. I don't know. I got some decent feedback from people that were interested in doing a stream like this. So I'm hoping it is useful for people.
The first guy just noticed this, like on the first GIF that you have for Eisworth. He's like doing the stanky leg.
He is at the beginning of the clip. It's we're gonna. I'm definitely gonna point that out. Because I saw that when I was going through it, and I'm like, what the hell is he doing? Just being goofy. But that's Greg Eisworth. He's Goofy Greg. He probably would not like that nickname very much, but if you're listening, Greg, don't hurt me. So for our people that have tuned in so far, we're going to be starting here in a few minutes. As we go through all these clips, I want you guys to, if you guys got, we're here to explain things, to answer questions, things like that. So if you want to see another clip, if you want to see something more explanation on something that's going on in one of these, or are unsure, which players where, or whatever, anything you guys have a question on, we're here to answer. I mean, that's why I wanted to do this in the first place. I'm not just here to hear my own voice like I usually am. Here to answer questions, and we brought Matthias with too. So
it's gonna be wild
or weird, one or the other.
Wild.
All right. Well, I guess if you say it's going to be wild, who am I to argue? Let's see here. Want to get everybody.
Everybody clap your hands.
Eventually, hopefully this thing kind of takes off and I have a reason to get another intro song or something.
One specifically produced by me.
I don't need a super dope one from Jake McDonough or anything like that, like we got for the first ones. But
we could do Baby Shark.
We could do Baby Shark. That would be a really funny but not at all applicable intro song that I could get behind.
Baby Brock do 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 Baby Brock do do. Yeah, Brock Purdy it.
Well, you say, oh man, Purdy has to be 2 syllables, doesn't it? Because we see their whole family a lot. Like their dad, his dad and mom both have Twitters, and his sister's got a Twitter, and Chubba.
Just walk up to his sister and sup.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna try to be weird about it or anything, but okay. So we want to get on a rolling here. Start talking about
Hold on, I haven't done my hair.
Well, we can't all be winners, Matthias. So let's want to get this thing rolling?
Yeah.
Let's do it. All right. Welcome everybody to the first Wide Right Film Room. This is our live stream where we're going to go through each week. We're going to go through the Film Room article that I do. Looking at a few different things. We're going to go through each different individual clip just to kind of to break it down in further detail. And I'm Levi Stevenson, the managing editor, and I'm joined by Matthias, who is a little bit of an attention whore, and apparently. So just felt the need to be noticed. But we're gonna go through each clip. You threw me off, man. We're gonna go through each clip on here and figure out, what's going well, what's not going well for Iowa State schematically, personnel wise. Hopefully get into maybe a little bit more detail than we can during the than I can in the article, where I can kind of explain things a little bit more thoroughly, and it gives you guys a chance to ask questions as well. So before we get into it, I guess, Matthias, before we get into the clips and all that, what was some general takeaways that you had from that game?
The offensive line was awesome.
Couldn't agree more.
Obviously, we'll get into that a little bit later down the line. And then, I guess everybody's general consensus is all that, one, not finishing drives, and then just having the dumbest mistakes.
Right. So we'll just go in order of the article. So let's start at the top here. This is going to be the first one, which is one of my favorite things to talk about, which is Greg Eisworth. Dude's a beast. We got really lucky getting Greg Eisworth, I think, and I think he goes a little bit underappreciated almost, where he really kind of sets the tone for that defense. I know we talk about Ray Lima and all that, and what he does for the defensive line. But Greg Eisworth should never, ever, ever go without mention when talking about the success of the Iowa State the Iowa State defense, and what he does. So what I want to touch on a little bit is a couple clips here that are really impressive to me. So the first one here, we get into it. It's a pretty simple off-tackle run here. You can see at the beginning of the play here, you have this tight end that's kind of coming in motion here. Pretty simple little dive that kind of goes and ends up being in an off tackle. And you have Greg Eisworth doing whatever this is out here.
Stanky leg.
It's a crazy stanky leg thing out here at the beginning of the play. He's shaking himself off. And he's reading it, comes in, boom, hits him right at the line of scrimmage there. What a lot of safeties do there is they'll go up and they may make that read, but a lot of times they'll end up giving up. The running back will fall forward and possibly pick up that first down. He's only got 1 yard there to pick up for the first down, or one yard and a half or so. And that's something that you see running backs fall forward a lot against defensive backs. Not Greg Eisworth though. Stanky leg, come up here, shot out of a cannon, bang, right at the line of scrimmage, no gain. Iowa's punting the football.
You wanna see the guy that the underrated person in this entire play is?
Who's that?
Watch Orion Vance.
Let's see here. So we got Orion Vance here.
Right there in the middle.
Right here. Oh yeah, he just blows up. Oh, I was looking at this clip earlier. It's not because right here, you get this left guard pulling, does not go well at all.
This is a trap. This is a trap play, right?
Yep.
So the guard's pulling, and he's going to hit the first guy he sees that's in red, and eventually, first guy he sees in red coming up the hole, and Greg Eisworth is going to be that dude. He doesn't even get there. Right,
exactly. And that's the thing.
Orion Vance killed him.
Right. Orion Vance blew up that trap, that pulling guard on the trap, and Greg Eisworth said, "You know what? F you guys, bang." And that's part of the thing too, is that a lot of people don't realize they see Greg Eisworth come up and make this sweet ass tackle, but you don't realize all of the individual pieces that go into this, because everybody has to do their job. You can't, look at Ray Lima punching through there too. You got him starting right here and just fights his way through and somehow ends up like 3 yards in the backfield, after this pile of nonsense right here. He ends up 3 yards in the backfield. Like, what the hell? So you got two people blowing up the middle of that trap. So is that 10? Is that Sargent, Mekhi Sargent?
Yeah.
Which he's kind of he's kind of a power back. So you go boom, boom, bang. And even if Eisworth didn't hit him there, you had a good line. Good gap assignment here. Well, who's that? That linebacker right there.
Hummel.
That's Jake Hummel. Yeah. So you have him. He's doing a good job where he's in position there to make a play as well. Probably not going to stop him for a zero gain like we see from Greg Eisworth. But you see there's really nice assignment football here from the DNs. Jaquan Bailey creating a little bit of his own havoc there. Really impressive play, but Greg Eisworth really makes this thing go. And there's not a lot of safeties that make that play. Greg Eisworth makes that play every single time. That's not something that a lot of safeties do. So now let's go down to this other one, which is totally badass as well. So you got another simple dive. I didn't catch if it was a trap or not. Let's see here. So you got this. There's just a pretty simple, just a simple
stretch play.
Yep, still simple stretch play. But you see Greg Eisworth starting on the weak side over here, just kind of peers, bang, goes over and hits him, drives him backwards again. That's their big one. Is that Torrin Young? I'm pretty sure he's their big power back. Or not Torrin Young. What the hell's his name?
Manning or not IKM, whatever the hell.
Who knows? No. That's no. Wait, I don't know. Actually, I have no idea.
You're asking me the name Iowa Hawkeye.
I just don't give a shit. So I do know that this is their power back. This is a really impressive read. It's not super complicated, but what it is, you can see he's watching, waiting for him to pop through that hole, and then he hits him with everything he's got. Again, this is another one too, right here. Ryan Vance blowing that up. You can see right
There's
here.
Somebody else in there. I've been watching it since we started talking here about I don't know, 20 minutes ago or so. I've been trying to figure out who that is scraping underneath. It's it might be Marcel
right here
somehow getting in there. Yeah.
So you got this. Is it this one right here?
That's Marcel right there. Also, he disappears, and then there's somebody I think that is him.
There's really. So you got Marcel's there. He ends up.
So where does Marcel go?
Oh my gosh! I think we just lost an entire football player in the pile. Where the? So I think that's Marcel right there.
Doesn't make any sense.
So you got him right there. I think. So that's him right there. He ends up right there. I'm not sure.
If that's him, he literally blew up the whole thing.
Oh, he did. Absolutely. Man, this is you keep watching and you find new pieces about this that just makes this such a great.
Where's the conspiracy theory noise going on right now?
What's that?
There's a guy conspiracy theory noises in my head right now. This is just total bogus UFO stuff right here.
Oh, the UFO stuff that was supposed to be fake, but it totally isn't.
Yeah, Marcel Spears is a UFO.
Marcel Spears is a UFO. He just kind of he just appears there and it just blew the whole thing up. And that's why I was talking about Eisworth on this play because I thought I was impressed by this read and react here and just making the play. But then if you keep dissecting this too, and Marcel Spears and Orion Vance right here just blow this whole thing. There's Orion Vance. Watch him from that middle linebacker spot, right through that gap, bang. He hits there's nothing there. That tight end was trying to come across and be a lead blocker, and there was nothing. It was a really impressive play there too. So now we're gonna get to the not as fun stuff. So let's go down here. This is what, first kind of our blown defensive opportunity that we could have had. So what I'm seeing here, you get this. It's a counter play. Iowa runs one interesting thing that, basically it's there's traps, dives, and stretches to the strong side, and then they'll counter to the weak side. That's pretty much all of the wrinkles in their running game. So they run this counter here, which counters are not necessarily designed to just run directly into lots and lots of green space. They're designed to get most of the defenders out of the way, and then the running back makes one guy miss, and then you can get into space. So if you look here, first one up here in the hole is Mike Rose right here. Nope. So there's one bad pursuit angle here. So this is basically the Oklahoma drill, right? So he comes up here and he hesitates. I wish I could pause this GIF. Maybe we'll have to figure out a way to do that for next episode. But he pauses right there, and instead of just going at, I think that's that Goodson. He basically pauses and tries to counter whatever he's going to do. Problem is, as much as I love Mike Rose, he is not quick enough to out agile a running back. He's just not. So that was loss number one. Not a huge deal, but it's recoverable. But if Mike Rose stays aggressive there and keeps pursuing right here and just keeps coming at him, you force either you have Goodson that's going to have to bounce farther outside, which obviously slows down his momentum and help the defenders catch up to him. Or maybe he flat out makes a tackle because all the inside, the cutback lane to the inside is covered. Ray Lima and Zach Peterson right there, both got this cutback lane covered right there, so he's not going back inside.
Well, I would argue that Zach Peterson does not have his outside arm free, so he's actually beat.
Zach Peterson doesn't have it there. Then Ray Lima does though. Ray Lima's right there. He's coming. He's already making pursuit. If he cuts back, Ray Lima's gonna eat his lunch. So he's got that covered. So now the second one here, this is Bickham. That's Justin Bickham. I'm not sure how much he could have done here because he had this receiver coming over and blocking. In theory, if he was a little bit more aggressive in attacking this, he probably could have gotten past that block.
And then he was punished for his crimes by Mike Rose.
And then here's who really messed up right here. This is Amici Walker taking the shittiest pursuit angle in the world. Like, all he has to do right here is play outside this blocker, and he just doesn't do it. So I understand that Amici Walker is converted receiver, so he's still learning. But right here, he's trying to play that cutback lane for no reason at all. He's the corner. He's the outside. He's the outside of the defense. He needs to stay out here, and he can contain
that. Dude
that.
had his eyes on the offensive line.
Oh, he absolutely did.
All of a sudden said, "Oh
shit, there's a running back." Yep, that's what happened. So it's tough because he's trained to cue on the offensive line, but at the same time he's got to have his eyes up. I mean, there's no way he didn't see Mike Rose and them bail out. He's got to be the outside of that defense. So when he is not looking there, he's going to leave himself open to getting beat like that. Hopefully he picks that up on tape next time and corrects that pursuit angle, which he literally didn't even get there. He just whoop, like he didn't even get within 5 yards because he just took such a terrible pursuit angle. And I think part of that it goes back to where he had to make up so much ground. There was no hope, and he kind of gets trucked at the end. But know who's right there to play damage cleanup? Greg Eisworth.
You ever think football players just fall on the ground to make it look like they tried?
They might have.
That's what Amici Walker's doing right now.
He did. So you got right here. He just.
I fall.
Oh, I'm not gonna make it. That's, as much as I hate pointing that out, yeah, it kind of does look like he's like, oh man, I gotta make this look good because I done. It's he's like, oh shit, I done fucked up. Okay, we gotta make it look good.
Now in film on Sunday morning, he's like, but coach, I fell.
But coach, I know the grass was slick, but he didn't even he didn't slip there. He just kind of
there's no breaking down. There was nothing. There was just
yeah.
Oh, I messed up.
There's not much there. There's no redeeming thing there for poor Amici Walker, except for hopefully he learns next time and plays the outside like he should. So now let's go to the next one here, which is another one that I'm really not happy with. There it is. All right. So.
Oh, no.
This is not good. This is bad. All right.
This is so bad. He
lost. Eddie Wazirike doesn't know what the hell is going on. So he's like, fuck, there's a shit. There's he's so turned around. Okay. So spoiler alert, this is who done fucked up on this play. Okay. So you got Eddie Wazirike right here. He's supposed to be playing contain. And you can tell that because instead of rushing in, he just stops. He's supposed to have his eye on the quarterback. The problem is he sees this leaking running back coming out. That's, he's supposed to look like a receiver. He's not a receiver on this play.
I was so pissed when this play. This was in my end zone that I was sitting in. I watched that the whole time. I was like, no!
Shit! Yeah. So you got Eddie, he's trying to cover this leaking running back. Obviously blows contain. Nate Stanley's like, yep, gonna run this bitch at 0.2 miles an hour. And look at that guy run. I can hear the tuba.
Gets that stride out there. I mean, look at he's pumping it though.
I can hear the tubas in the background going bodum 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 foot him when he's running.
This,
I shouldn't be making fun of him because he did just pick up like
things to them.
He did just pick up like 13 yards on a scramble, but I mean, yikes, that is something.
Dude was slippery all game.
He was. And we'll get it. There's another play coming up where he was a little bit more.
He stayed
slippery.
out during the rainstorm.
Mm-hmm. Son of a gun was doing the slip and slide on the field with the students. So obviously we see Andy blows his assignment there. My question though is, what was Andy believing that he was going to do? This running back is clearly faster than him and running the other direction.
Well,
I mean,
you look at it, you're like, he's probably like, oh, he handed it off. I can get this dude. And then by the time you realize he didn't have the ball, it was
But you look right here though. He's in contain. His whole job right here is to have his eyes in the backfield, so he can see this running back just kind of blah blah blah.
This is just a total. He got faked out.
Oh, he did big time. It's not good. I'm sure he's going to get some shit for this in the when they go. I'm sure they've already gone through the film, but this is not good from any. Got faked out. Kind of happens. Nate Stanley made him pay for it. Just another one of those break and contain. Now you have two blitzing linebackers here, which is interesting because it's 3rd and 11, and they're bringing 5.
And it was like a half-hearted.
It wasn't a real blitz. Like it was just kind of like, let's take out some extra shit. Like that was.
They didn't even gap. They didn't even hit the right gaps. They just ran up to the center and the guard. Like, so I'm pretty sure that's Orion Vance right there. So those guys should have both blitzed on either side of the center, and they both went to the same gap.
Right. Yes, they did right here. See, what's going on here?
So Jake Hummel should have been one gap over,
right,
and then Ryan Vance should have been where he was.
Basically,
he wasn't getting through that
because one lineman basically caught the two of them, and then so you have the center that's blocking Ray Lima, but he comes off to the side. Is that Ray Lima or Jamal Johnson? It's Jamal Johnson. So you have the center, which originally was supposed to pick up Jamal Johnson. So the right guard catches both of them, and then the center helps out or whatever. So I mean, they basically allowed 2 blitzers to be picked up by one guy.
As a former center, I'm thinking that right guard's like, dude, you just made my life.
Yeah, no shit, because he's like, fuck. Now, granted, it wouldn't have actually mattered because, Stanley was already gone by the time he'd switched over. But, so you can tell, if you look at that split second right there, so it happens almost the same exact time. When Eddie turns his head, bang, right there. That's right after that, like immediately after that. That's when Stanley tucks it down and runs. So you can tell that might be a read on that play, honestly, that Stanley's looking for to see what happens with this D end. Either that or
his eyes were to the left to start, and then he peered back right and saw it was wide open. That was the pass all the way.
Right. Oh yeah, I would. Oh yeah, I'm not implying that was a designed run or anything.
Oh, I was like, RPO in that? What?
No. I'm not. I ain't RPOing with slow Ben Roethlisberger here. Like you got. See my only thing with this running back is he's running pretty nonchalantly here. Like this isn't a route. That's a decoy.
Yep.
So Andy got eaten up by a decoy, which he wasn't. Even if that was a real route, what's he gonna do? Like that's gone. At that point, you just say, fuck it. My linebackers are back there. Wait, no, they're not. They're getting blocked by one dude.
The guy that got into the game, and his mom's very happy for it.
Yep, basically. That's kind of. I don't know. That's one that Andy will see on film and be like, yeah, I probably shouldn't do that anymore. I don't know. So let's go to the next one here. Oh, this one. Okay, so this one is. It's not the most egregious thing because Nate Stanley does do a good job right there, stepping up in the pocket. That's a tough little move.
One of like 40 times he escaped a near sack.
Yeah. So Jamal Johnson actually does the right thing here too, because one of the things that you got to look at here is, when you're rushing the quarterback, if what you got to do is you try to basically shoot for their back shoulder or their outside shoulder, so they can't escape out. They can't turn around and escape. I feel like I did miss a clip because I mentioned this earlier, but so Nate Stanley does a good job. I mean that with him stepping up like that, can't really get too hard on Jamal for missing that tackle because Nate Stanley just did a good job. Problem here though, watch Daquan Bailey, right here. So they're running a stunt right here. So he stunts inside and spins back to the side he came from. If you would watch when he does that, when the whole line turns their attention, wide open lane. And unfortunately, So
that was bad. One, I'll let you finish and I'll show you what I'm seeing too.
okay, so now you have Orion Vance. Poor Orion Vance here is doing his best. He's right here. He's watching. The whole offensive line turns their heads right. So he's thinking, shit, everything's going that way. Then all of a sudden, out pops big old tuba runner here, and he's like, shit. And then he slips on the grass, and that's, he can't recover. Fortunately, Nate Stanley, not the most fleet of foot. Look at that grace and power. Comes up, and fortunately what is it? Lawrence White makes a tackle there, but Jaquan Bailey actually is the one that kind of messed this up because he blew his gap assignment by trying to make a play where, and I understand trying to make a play there, but he blew that gap assignment, which gave Stanley that route to get out of there.
Well, and they had that walled off. Look, hold on 1 second. I wish you could pause it.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to see where his initial steps were too, because they had him walled off. So
yeah,
I don't know if he was ever going to get there anyways.
Right.
So Orion Vance is basically being like a delayed QB spy.
Yep, basically, because he just slides over here trying to watch for Stanley.
When he stepped left, it was over.
Oh yeah. Well, and the reason he stepped left because he does it as soon as he sees those three linemen on the left side there. So they go like this, they turn their heads, bang, and he's already left. Now he's got to recover, and it's just all over. So Jaquan, in my mind, this goes on Jaquan blowing his assignment because if he stays in the middle and just keeps trying to fight and eating up blockers, they're there. Nate Stanley doesn't have the same kind of room to run. Orion Vance isn't trying to take a step left to get there, and this gets eaten up at the line of scrimmage. So that's just some lane discipline there by Jaquan Bailey, which here's the clip I missed. This is the one I wanted. This one irked me. So you're standing up in your normal 3x3 in your normal 3-3 set here, and you got a corner blitz coming off. This is Anthony Johnson, comes straight off clean. Takes a real shitty pursuit angle because, like I said before, when you're rushing the quarterback, especially from the outside, you go towards their back shoulder, just so that doesn't happen. If he goes towards Nate Stanley's back, there is no way in the world he's getting out. You got to come around here. So now Nate Stanley has absolutely nowhere to go because he's still in the pocket, so he can't just get rid of it. So now he turns around and just throws it away. So it ends up being a 2nd and 10, but you could have him for a 2nd and 25 right there if you take the correct pursuit. I think this was the intentional grounding, wasn't it?
Yeah. So you mentioned going to his back shoulder there on the blitz. That sack that he did have maybe a couple drives before then, or in the first half, I think it still was. I don't know. The game is all messed up because it was all delays.
Right. Yeah.
That sack that Anthony Johnson did have, he still took a terrible angle at it.
Yeah, he got lucky. So that's something that they're going to have to clean up with him because that's, coming straight up, trying to come over to a defensive end spot basically and then come straight up the pocket. That's just not going to work. He's got to, if you're coming from a corner blitz, you have to come towards his backside shoulder because he's got help there. I think, he's, he's a younger player. So he probably saw all that green and the quarterback in front of him and his eyes got wide and he's like, screw it, I'm going in. It's not disciplined. And then poor Orion Vance has to clean that up.
So to take this into Louisiana Monroe a little bit too, if they're going to run this and if he takes that angle, he's going to get beat by that quarterback.
That quarterback can run.
He's lucky that Nate Stanley is slower than molasses.
Yes. Yeah. He's our tuba man. So that's something that's going to have to get cleaned up. I mean, that's going to have to get cleaned up for anyone in the Big 12 because I can't think of a quarterback in the Big 12 that immediately comes to mind that can't run in some capacity. All of them are at least mobile enough. They're all more mobile than Nate Stanley. Let's put it that way.
What about Kansas's quarterback?
They have a quarterback? I have no idea.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
I think actually, funny enough, I'm pretty sure their quarterback's name is Carter Stanley. Don't know if there's any relation.
Good God.
He's not good, but
never mind. He beat us.
All right. So let's move on to our next. I think that's our last terrible defensive play. All right, Brock, MF, and Purdy. So these two plays were not one of them blew my mind in the middle of the game. This one wasn't. It's not gonna it's not just some crazy Pat Mahomes throw off the run 70 yards downfield. But what this is One, there's some interesting things here. The play design. One, the offensive line blocks this freaking awesome. Look at that. Ain't nobody getting through that. Two, you get you get Deshaunte Jones coming across here. Perfect read. You got Tariq Milton, so that's a dump off right there. You got him on a curl. You got Kane here in the flat, where I think that's Kane. Yep, that's Kane. Oh no, that's Johnny Lang. There in the flat, he's got a dump there, and then he's got, I think this is Michael Petway, right there, actually on a kind of a corner route there. So this was designed to go to Deshaunte Jones as a first read. So he does a good job. Bang, right between those two linebackers, and puts it right on Deshaunte's right hip.
This is the second greatest pre-weather delay pass in Iowa State history.
Yeah. Well, I would argue this is the first one, just the second best outcome. Because the first one was like just a little.
No,
it was the first one was bubble screen.
I'm talking the greatest ever pre-weather delay pass was the one from Kyle Kemp to Deshaunte Jones.
That was just a little bubble screen.
Still a pass.
Well, I mean, technically, but okay, fine. I'll give it first. It's the first best pass, second best outcome. I will cede you that territory and no more.
All right, fair enough.
Okay, but anyways, this is a really impressive throw here from Brock Purdy. Just makes the read, just laser beam exactly where it needs to go. I mean, that's why everybody loves Brock Purdy. Just this type of accuracy. Right between the two. I mean, you already had the safety that was kind of coming down on him. You know, there's nobody that's going to catch that besides Deshaunte Jones, and it's still a very catchable ball. You know, sometimes you hear like throws on the sidelines that, well, he put it only where only his receiver could get it, but they still want it like 2 foot over their head and then like went off their fingertips. This one is legitimately where only his receiver could get it, but it's a very catchable ball. Like Deshaunte Jones and a lot of people would be upset if not upset necessarily, but they would be disappointed if Deshaunte Jones doesn't make this catch. But he's the only one that really has a realistic shot at actually doing anything about it. That's what makes this throw really great. There's scheme. There's a bunch of different things you can do with this. I mean, you could easily turn that into an RPO without a shitty snap. Also, did Colin Olsen played center, didn't he?
He did.
Because we were talking about Trevor Downing playing center with Olsen staying at the left guard, but Colin Olsen moved to the center and Downing took over left guard. And look at Downing on that one. I didn't even notice that. Later, son. I like that a lot. You like that, Matthias?
That's Iowa farm beef right there.
That's a farm boy block right there.
See, okay, look at this. This is okay. Trevor Downing did that all himself, and like Colin Olsen's like getting in there, like, "Hey, let me have something."
Yeah, he's like, "I need something to block." I never even noticed that till just now. But Trevor Downing just.
But look at Colin. He's like scrambling, trying to keep up with it.
They're supposed to double this guy, but Trevor Downing's got it taken care of. He's like, "Whatever, man." That's great. I love that. Julian Cajones throwing a nice block there on Mr. Empanada. Actually, I like this right here. Look at this by Charlie Kohler. That's a nice little block right there. He
turned his shoulders out, and then it was all game for him. So if that was stretched out a little bit, that was done for.
Well, yeah, that's true. But either way, let's just sit there and admire Trevor Downing a couple more times. Right there, bang. Gonzo. I love that. All right, well, we have another entire section of offensive line stuff. I could have put that one in there. That's a good one. Okay, this one made me actually like audibly gasp in the middle of the game. So he's coming up here. Okay. So Julian Cajones actually I thought had a fairly good game. Actually,
that was his one.
He messed that up. He knew it. He knew he messed it up. He's like shit, because he's like, you get it right here. All of a sudden, we are panicking right now because you have probably the best defensive end in college football coming screaming off this edge, and he's behind him.
So watch. Okay, Julian Jones' first step is good. He steps out left, pretty good wide base, and then he just stops.
Yep. Yeah, I did. Right? Why does he stop right there? That's the weirdest thing.
This is his issue, and he does this all the time. When he becomes inconsistent, he stops. He stops moving his feet. He stops.
Right.
Basically stretching out the defensive end, because when you're a tackle, you got to stretch out those guys out to the sidelines.
Right. So I'm looking at this here too. If you watch closely, Epinesa does this little hesitation move right there, and I think that's what freezes. I think that's what froze him a little bit.
That's a veteran like Julius Pepper move right there.
Oh yeah, for sure. So that's that's partially speaks to Epinesa's skill. So it froze Julian Cajones, but if Julian keeps his feet moving, it's not a big deal. Worth noting that this is AJ Epinesa's only QB hurry of the entire game. But now let's admire what I really put this clip in here for. Brock Purdy, out of fucking nowhere. There's no reason he should know that AJ Epinesa was coming, and just gone.
And the clock in his head. You step back 3 seconds, move.
1001, 1002, 1003, gone. And that's what it is. And he turns it into a quick little. It's only a 2-3 yard gain, but instead of taking a 10-yard sack, that's a 12-yard swing right there. And now you're at 2nd and 8 instead of 2nd and 17, 2nd and 20. That was superhuman. I mean. And the thing too that you say the internal clock, but he still got to know where to go. I mean, it's not just 3 seconds and find some place to go. It was 3 seconds, step forward, and then go.
Okay, so you see the pocket. The pocket's already established, right? So they tell you
he's got green space here, so he can.
When you got those 3 seconds, you don't run backwards. You don't run to the left, obviously, because AJ Epinesa is there. Right. Step up and go, no matter what. Right. The less a sack, if you're going to get sacked, don't lose as less yards as you can possible.
Right.
Don't run to the side. Run up.
Right. Exactly. So that was particularly impressive to me. And there was Brock Purdy made a lot of really nice throws against Iowa. So it'd be silly to go through all of them because he's pretty much. 80 to 90% of his passes that he throws are really nice balls. And the other ones are like decent, and then the receiver makes a good play. So let's talk about this. Okay, Matthias, this is for you, buddy. This whole section. You and I were talking about this a little bit before I was even doing the film room. About there was some lineman porn in this game. So this first one here, I love this, and there's another play that follows up with this. You get just a standard old read option here. So you get this. Look at this wall right here for one. That whole front seven of Iowa has got totally relocated. Yeah,
everything is blocked perfectly except for Chase Allen.
Yep. So that's the thing too. See here, so Chase Allen, he should be picking up should he be picking up
7 right there
that defensive end? So he kind of got lucky that he got lucky.
He is your polar.
Yep. Well, I think though the reason Chase Allen didn't pick him up though is because the read on him. The read on this defensive end, he was picking up Sheldon Croney there. So Chase Allen saw him sliding in, knew that the defensive end there was not going to be in the play. He wasn't going to get to Brock. So then he started, I'm going to go start trucking upfield, creating a little bit of green space. Unfortunately, he didn't quite get there, and Tariq Milton wasn't quite able to hold his block long enough, and Brock kind of just went to the ground just to get his yards because he'd gotten his first down. That's all he needed. One thing that you could have done here is instead of staying inside, you can come outside right here, come outside of Tariq Milton's block, I think. And then really all you got left, because this guy's already out of it, this safety is too far on the backside to do a ton about it. So this high safety over here is really the only one that's going to make this. If you come outside of Tariq Milton here, and assuming LaMichael Petway can hold his block, the only one that's stopping this play from getting more than 10 yards is this guy here. And you have your lead blocker here to take care of that safety. So really you're looking at this safety coming over as being your first guy that's got a chance to tackle Brock Purdy himself.
So if Tariq Milton turns his body to the left a little bit more, and then Bryce Meeker turns his body to the right a little bit more, that goes for a little bit longer.
Yep, basically. Yeah, right there. You see, if Bryce Meeker can get his body just a little bit farther on the outside, and Tariq Milton can get his just a little bit farther on the outside. Or are you saying they'd get more yardage going the route they did if Bryce Meeker's...
Okay, so Brock Purdy takes the ball, right? We're assuming that's the correct read, which it is.
Yep, it is.
Okay, so Bryce Meeker didn't get inside enough, and then Tariq Milton didn't get inside enough again, I guess you want to call it that way. And so if those two did that, they have that walled off. And then essentially, now that Chase Allen's out in front of you, he gets that guy blocked. That's going for 20 yards.
Yeah. So there's a lot more. There's some more yardage to be had here with a couple little tweaks on your technique there. But overall, a really nice little scheme, because even Sheldon Croney on the running back read there has a spot to go where he can pick up the first down on that as well. Just because the line did such a good job of walling that off. I mean, it's just gone. So Sheldon Croney's even got a spot to get the first down, even though he was the read for the defensive end. So now we go down to the next play here, which is exactly the same play, same formation and everything. This time, the defensive end stays out on Purdy, hands it off to, I believe that's Kanani Wangu. Look at this wall. Yes, please. And Kanani Wangu with his burst, gonzo. But you still got Chase, well, that's Charlie Kohler on that one.
Yeah, he missed. He should have taken him there.
Yeah, he should have taken the defensive end. But again, the defensive end, wasn't even in the play. So
yeah, he put himself out of it. But
yeah,
if the guy was a little more disciplined, yeah, Charlie Kohler should have just bumped him.
Yep. Because you can tell. Well, what's interesting is he kind of comes a little bit lackadaisical around the corner there. That's interesting.
Now watch Bryce Meeker, walled. He did that perfectly that time.
Later, son. So right there. Good night, linebacker. That ain't gonna happen. Let's look at Trevor Downing. He does something. Yep, right there. Yep. No, that's kind of a hold. But look at this. Look at Julian Cajones throwing Epinesa around. Right? Nope.
I don't. Okay, I believe it. I was going to say, I don't believe you.
Yeah, he did it. Woof. Nope. No thanks, Empanada. That's a nice play. I like that one a lot. I like the fact that it's two different outcomes. Similar blocking scheme, same exact play call. But two very successful run plays out of the same exact play call with different
show
reads.
That our right side of our offensive line is the strongest to run on.
Yep, for sure. Makes sense though, because you got Josh Knipfel and Bryce Meeker over there, and they're your two, probably your two best road graders. Man, that's nice. Look at Colin Olsen right there, the center, really sealing that guy off. That's a nice play. I could sit there and watch that. But here is where we're going to go into straight up boner material on this. Because this was when we were talking about this play the first time, when we were talking about how the offensive line had improved. I brought up this play specifically. All I did was send you a text that I found this play where there was 3 polling linemen, and you're like, yep, I love that one too. And this is fantastic. So you get 3 polling linemen. Julian Cajones picks up the defensive tackle there. And then you get the other 2 coming around, bang, bang. 2 good blocks. Unfortunately, I think that's Trevor Downing gets kind of thrown by linebacker. It doesn't really end up being all that consequential.
Well, and what he did, he came in basically like a scramble mode after he pulled. He was like lost, so he's like
he had so much green in front of him.
He had no idea where to like really hit, and so he was already off balance. And then done.
So basically, the only one here, there's really not much saving this from going into the end zone, other than AJ Empanada coming from all the way across, doing a good job. I mean, he's doing what he's supposed to do. So credit to AJ Empanada there. You can't even say Epinesa anymore. Thanks, Grant Mahoney. Coming over, so he does what he's supposed to do. Some other, a lesser skilled defensive lineman may not do that on his own. But you come up here, so if AJ Epinesa is not there, Kanani Wangu can torch that safety. Like he can he can bust right through that hole and he's gone. I mean, that's ain't nobody getting to catch Kanani Wangu through there. If I'm not sure if there's a way you could have blocked AJ Epinesa there. I mean,
because he just scraped over the top.
Yeah, he really did. There's not much you're going to do about it.
That's where you're hoping some of those linebackers get caught in the shuffle, and you have Trevor Downing still pulling and going and running the backside line.
So yeah, maybe if Trevor Downing doesn't get pushed over here, if he can get some momentum against this linebacker and pushes him back, then that redirects AJ Epinesa just a little bit, and maybe that gives him the space he needs. So that's something Trevor Downing can look at and say, "Hey, I did really good up until right there, and then I got toasted.
I pulled perfectly,
and then I got obliterated." But you know what? Either way, I like this play design a whole lot. There's a lot of potential here. If let's see, who's this out here? Right here. Is that Chase Allen? It's Charlie Kohler. right there. If he can get a better block here, Canadian Wangu can actually bounce this out, and he's got some more. Look at Michael Petway there blocking his guy downfield, right here,
When you're built like a brick shit house.
right there. Look at that. That dude has got it. That dude's a tree. Yeah, I like that a lot. Look at the enthusiasm on that blocking. So if Charlie Kohler can give him a little bit better block, and the Michael Petway can keep driving his guy downfield, maybe that's a cut opportunity for Kane, and he can get outside. Otherwise, this is a great concept. I would love to see them run this more. I think you can elaborate or correct me on this. Wherever I would say it's got some fairly mobile linemen. So maybe using these pulling linemen, the tackles and guards. Maybe that's the ticket for this type of stuff, and utilizing the mobility of the offensive line so they can get guys like Canadian Wangu in space.
I think it just allows them to build momentum rather, because we have seen them struggle at the point of attack rather than move people. So if you're getting people moving by pulling, you're allowing the lineman to get a head start and actually just get people shifted upfield.
So then are you saying that so that would mean basically that they're doing the pulling.
They're creating the momentum to make impact blocks rather than trying to make an impact block off the snap.
Yeah, so they're basically they're not necessarily covering up a weakness, but they're scheming around a weakness.
They're utilizing a strength rather than using a weakness to try to create a strength.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that makes sense. So let's see if I've got oh baby, this play gets me all hot and bothered. Okay, so this one here is my last little clip. It's just kind of fun to watch because it's an absolute dime from Deshaunte Jones. A perfect.
The funny
pass.
thing is how far he reaches back to throw that thing. He just cocks it back and just ugh.
That's something that would get blown up by Mel Kiper in his NFL draft review. He just, but you know what? That's a nice ball.
This guy's got to really load back to throw the ball 30 yards downfield.
But you know what? It's otherwise it's pretty good for him. He puts his weight on his back foot. I like that. And Michael Petway doesn't have to break stride at all. Just look at this. This guy had no idea what was going. Nothing. So, this is obviously it's a trick play, so it's not like this isn't part of the scheme per se. But what it is though, and we saw it too against Iowa, is that they quote unquote opened up the playbook. They got a lot more creative. They knew that Iowa State would need something to kind of create a little bit of forward momentum for the offense, kind of get help them get on the board. Something like this comes in handy. Where now it's on tape, so we'll see if they use it again at some point for something. I mean, that's a nice enough ball that they probably feel fairly confident going to that. More than like once a season.
This is something I brought up to Grant Mahoney in the Lightcast. I said, how much would you have bet that Deshaunte Jones threw the first touchdown pass on a trick play rather than Real Mitchell?
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't have thought about that. Well, I mean, Deshaunte Jones was a quarterback in high school, so it's not like
right. But I just thought that Real Mitchell would be like the gadget play the first time out.
Well, see, the thing with Real Mitchell though is that everybody's kind of been assuming that he's like the gadget dude. You can just bring him in. You can just tell him to do something. I don't know. Like Matt Campbell doesn't seem like that kind of coach, or Tom Manning, that kind of offensive coordinator, where you just like do something with a guy just because you can. Like they like everything they do has a very distinct reason and purpose. And to me, using Real for gadget plays is kind of like, I mean, why? Because you could put Real Mitchell out there, but he's a quarterback, so I mean the other team is gonna know he's a quarterback, so they're gonna see him out there and be like, oh, okay, something's kind of weird. Whereas Deshaunte Jones, you have him as a wide receiver. He's out there as a receiver. That's where you can catch somebody off guard. I don't know what Real Mitchell's role looks like going forward. I mean, he's just the backup. That's just what he is.
I would say it's non-existent right now.
Well, yeah, it is non-existent right now. And who knows? I mean, like in the Alamo Bowl, he came in as a receiver. Maybe they do something with that where they run some crazy option shit with him and Brock Purdy. Like, I mean, maybe, but that's not, to me, that's not a part of the scheme going forward. One thing I also didn't touch on a lot in the film, I briefly mentioned it, but one thing that they did do a good job of is in the defense. I'm gonna see if I can find a clip that you can see. I mean, you can actually this one here. You can it's sort of so Iowa runs a cover 2, just out of the 4-3, which means that the center of the field here is going to be open. And what they have done, what they did a couple years ago, when this was back in Ames again. They attacked it a few different times with Deshaunte Jones and Tariq Milton, and I think maybe with Charlie Kohler once, as they'd throw it right in this little pocket right up past the linebackers and in front of the safeties. They attacked that quite a few times against Iowa, and against the Big 12, how many times are they going to get something like that? I don't know. I guess TCU's scheme may lend something. That's maybe something that they can do because TCU runs that 4-2-5. So maybe that's a spot that you can attack against that 4-2-5. A lot of the Big 12 teams they're switching to basically to Iowa State scheme, to the 3-2-6, 3-3-5, whatever you want to call it. A lot of them are switching to that, which you won't have that pocket then. But I thought that was interesting that they saw that on tape and they went and they attacked that spot right there. And really he could have actually hit it there, right as an early throw. He could have hit it right in that spot, right there. But
the bad snap kind of slowed that.
The bad snap slowed the whole thing down. It ended up working out because it was he got open. But if he has a good snap there, that's you could hit him right in that pocket, right in front of the safeties, right there. So that's something to keep an eye on going forward as well, is looking for how they attack the middle of the field, especially behind the linebackers. Now against Big 12 teams, maybe that's not open, and they have to take more underneath stuff. That'll be something to look at going forward, but thought that was interesting to point out, I guess, from the game. And you can see right there, there's that gap, and they hit it a bunch of different times. Right? Yeah. Right there. That's a really nice spot for a receiver. So like right here, if he didn't have to scramble out, let's see. So what do you got? You see it right there. Yep. Is that Landon Akers? I bet that's Landon Akers. So you have Landon Akers right here. He can hit it right here. So if Brock Purdy doesn't have to scramble on this, I mean, that's wide open right there. So that's something to keep an eye on going forward as well. So do you have any other clips you wanted to share for this week, Matthias, or you filmed out?
No, I don't have anything.
You don't have anything? Well, we'll come back. So I guess one thing I hope you guys enjoy. We'll probably start wrapping up the film room, but if you guys have any suggestions for this series, for anything, if you have specific clips, like when we do the article and the film room, definitely let me know, and we're happy to add that in and talk about it. Whatever it is, and we had a few people jump in the chat, and I appreciate everybody tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed this. We're hoping to hope we can kind of expand on this a little bit. Again, thanks everybody for tuning in. This was your first experience with the Wide Right Film Room.